Here is everything I read, sort of, mostly, for the month of April, and this is quite a stack. I really have my local library to thank, and a lack of self-control in the comic book store to thank for this month's reading. Per usual, this is spoiler-free, so relax, enjoy, sing me read the things you read, and maybe I hope you gain a few like recommendations or inspirations to start new things from this, because this is quite a stack. Okay, so now I've laid it out. We've got single issues by like publication, we've got trades, and then we've got the regular books that I read this month. So let's start with the regular books because they should go quicker. Firstly, Cosmic Love at the Multiverse Hair Salon by Annie Mare. This happened to be a really lucky find at my local library. I had just been scrolling on Instagram and seen a carousel of queer recommendations, and this screams that. So you've got two friend groups that kind of come together because there's like an accidental time travel oopsie where your two main characters, Tressa and Meryl, are like trying to come back together, and their friends are trying to ensure that like it works out, but you're kind of blipping back and forth between timelines the whole time, and it is a little bit hectic, but like you understand that it's going to happen because it's literally multiverse in the title. The thing that really keeps it going for me is the friend group. You've got a lot of examples of positive representation and just like a wide variety of people in there, and then they all have distinct like senses of humor, so like you're kind of like laughing, I think, every chapter in here. One thing that I really liked is one of your main characters owns a hair salon and she's like kind of like an influencer, and then the other one is just like a municipal government worker, and I thought that those are two really fun like things to like force together. I am glad I checked it out in my library though, because I don't know that I would be adding it to my collection, but definitely a fun summer read. Look at this. I tried so desperately to finish this book in the last week of the month, and that is Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. This is in my personal collection because it is a book that I know a lot of people read in school, but I never did. So every time I see it, I think like, oh, I'm probably supposed to read that. And I'm having a terrible, terrible time. I am not one to DNF a book because I do not think you can give it a negative review if you DNF it. You just have to let that be the fact of the book. And I'm not rage reading this to give it a negative review. I just would like to understand where we end here, but I think it's going to be a really frustrating end, and I've been really enjoying the comics that I've been reading, so that was also kind of at play here. This was finally the month that I read Batwoman Elegy by Greg Rucka, which then I did like go reread that Batwoman issue #1 too, and I was like, yes, like I get where we're coming from, and I'm so much more excited about that new series now that I have actually read this as I intended to. I like that she is like dark, and I like that there is like this kind of tension about Batman. It's not hinging on or like relying on people to give a about Batman in order to like her. Like she's fully her own thing. The Kate Kane backstory is like really interesting to me. And then from reading this, there are like a few individual single issues that I do think would be really cool to add to my personal collection. And so now they are on my like watch list for when I'm back issue hunting, because wow. This one has an excellent flop factor that Court of Owls did not have, and that once again stands out to me as like, this is a good physical reading experience. I enjoyed it, and you cannot beat the price point of $10. Like I will keep buying DC compacts, and yeah, this one smells as good as the last one. So I am officially like a Batwoman stan. I need to go read the whole backlog, but I'm like so much more on board for the current ongoing now that I actually have read this. Because of Batman Court of Owls and also Batwoman, I've kind of had a little bit of an interest in Nightwing, so I found the first Rebirth volume at my local library, and I feel like this was a pretty good glimpse into Dick Grayson as a character, a little bit of backstory and a little bit of motivation to kind of keep reading and see what happens with him, but like I just don't know that I care enough to like go forward in the series. So if you happen to be watching this and you are a Nightwing fan, which I know a lot of people are, and you have a recommendation of like, should I keep going or should I try a different starting point, please let me know. Maybe the biggest home run out of this month's trip to the local library was Do a Powerbomb by Daniel Warren Johnson. The hype is real and this book is deserving. Like, I get it. I want to go find the single issues. This story is very, very classic in a way that feels familiar, yet you don't know what is going to happen. Something that I thought was particularly cool about this is this story contains a series of fights, and you get a lot of like the setup that you need to understand the characters and the world, and then incorporated into the story is this like rundown of all of the teams and all of the matchups, and you kind of get to like pause before you get to the meat of the story and kind of like take your guess at what's going to happen and where our characters are going to go. And I thought that that was so fun and just like especially interactive, because I stopped, I paused, I like filled out this bracket, like wrote it down, and then went back to see how I did, and I did pretty good, but I didn't get it all the way right. The writing, the characters, like genuinely, the colors, like every single thing about this book is chef's kiss. This goes down as a favorite. I got it from the library and I will be looking for it to add to my personal collection. Moving on to single issues, let's start with really what I read the most of, and that is Marvel. This month we got Stephanie Phillips' Daredevil #1, but this version of Matt Murdock that we are introduced to here as a professor is so enticing to me. I cannot wait to see where this goes, because that is such a level of normalcy that him as like a lawyer didn't quite have. Like, he's a little bit more relatable, I feel like. It's got me, it's working, we're gonna see. Also, like, all of the covers are so cool, and I was having so much fun on the internet seeing what people were getting here, and this is on my pull list. I can't wait for more, and I'm really, really happy that Stephanie Phillips is on it. We have that issue #2 of Jessica Jones Alias. I've got a variant cover here that I think is particularly awesome, and yeah, this is continuing to do exactly what I hoped it would do. I'm so invested in this weird pairing we've got going on, and also the overall story of what's going on with Jessica and Luke and their like kind of personal life outside of, you know, superhero shit. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm so glad I did an Alias reread before the new series started coming out, because what that did was it pushed me into reading and checking out The Pulse, which is a Jessica Jones story where she is on assignment by Jonah Jameson at the Daily Bugle to kind of like out Spider-Man's identity. I found issue 1, I read it, I really enjoyed it. I feel like this is just written for me to enjoy personally, and it's filling the gaps that I do know I have pertaining to Jessica and Luke and like what has happened between the two Alias series that are going on. So I was so happy to have found an issue 1 here and understand that like, yeah, I do want to keep reading this. So finally in my stack for Marvel, I have 4 books from the Death Spiral event in the Amazing Spider-Man series and the Venom series. We've got Venom 256, The Amazing Spider-Man 990, Venom 257, and The Amazing Spider-Man 991, well, The Amazing Spider Carnage. This event, I had a ton of fun with it. Yes, it ruined my new comic book day budget for the past 2 months. This is what I was hoping for and what I feel lucky to be getting out of ASM. The previous arc we were on before this started was like really not my jam, and I felt like I was just pushing through it, which is tough when it's a book that comes out twice a month, like spending a ton of money on Amazing Spider-Man every month compared to anything else. This event was darker, it was more in depth, you pulled more characters in who were new but also familiar. You've got a really good dose of like MJ and Peter in here, and that's something that we haven't had at all in ASM as long as I've been reading. With the final one being 991 here, we're clearly teeing up for Amazing Spider-Man 1000. Like, this next block is gonna be serious. And I don't think we're done with like this story. I think it's still gonna kind of like peter out in ASM. I'm so thankful that this paid off and I happened to end up enjoying the Death Spiral event as much as I thought I would based on the first book. Here we've got a stack of like not the big 2, which contains my first ever Boom book, I think, and that is Neighborhood Watch issue 1 by Sarah Gailey. They are doing something cool here. If you didn't pick this up, you should regret it and you should go back and find it, because I'm calling it now, this is gonna be one of my favorite books of the year and maybe like forever. This is certainly making it onto like collection lists in my Comic Geeks. But this is a variant. The cover art is a little bit different than what the inside of the book looks like here. It's got a more cartoonish vibe, which is different than a lot of the other stuff I'm reading, but has really pulled me in. And you've got a main group of people who it belongs to like a classically like snooty HOA. And then you've got another group of people who definitely live in like a collaborative co-working kind of space where they're helping out with like yard work and maintenance and cooking and growing food and taking care of one of each other. And so you kind of can just see these two different lifestyles clashing, or so you think, but then Sarah Gailey just really sets it up for uncovering a lot of deception and like relation between the two that you would never guess from the surface is happening. I read this and I immediately flipped back to the beginning and I went through again. And that to me is like a definite marker of not only like a 5-star single issue, but something that I'm going to love for a really long time. I can't praise this enough. I'm so happy that this exists. It is queer friendly. You have very hot main characters, I'll say it. And the writing is funny. Like the jokes in here that they are making are one thing, but then also like the attitude of the writing is another thing. Once again, Sarah Gailey nailing it. I'm really happy to see them on a comic book. Next up, my favorite issue of Exquisite Corpses yet. I think this has taken the cake for top issue. This is issue 12 though, which is the second to last issue in this series, and it was so good. It was so good. When I get my hands on issue 13 in this upcoming month, I'm probably gonna read it in the comic book store parking lot. Ugh, one of my favorites. Every time I get to go pick up a Blood and Thunder book on New Comic Book Day, my heart grows 3 sizes or whatever, like the Grinch, because this is truly one of my favorite stories. It's ongoing, we're deep in it. This is issue 12. There are trades out. I really encourage you to check out that first trade if you stumble across it. You've got a girl, you've got her sentient gun, and the world is just not what she thinks it is. But also, like, they don't live in our world. There's aliens, and books are banned, and like science and technology have risen to the top over like expression and creativity, and you know, like what does that do to the way that people and beings like connect with one another? You're just digging into it here. It is so clear that the team behind this has like a clear vision for where this is going, how it's going to get to the end, and what that ending is like. And I think it's going to be a very rewarding payoff. And then finally, an Image, I've got In Your Skin, a brand new #1. This is following a parasocial relationship between a Bollywood star and a superfan. It's like body horror. It's definitely like a mature content situation. Oh, it's just so good. Like I believe, maybe this is not true, but I think it's pretty safe to assume that like if you are reading a comic book, you know what it is like to be a complete stan of something. So to know that you have that within you about whatever your favorite stuff may be, whether it's a band or a show or an actor or a comic book or an author or whatever it may be, when you know you have that like deep capacity to be obsessed with it, and you read something like this that is going into like the absolute horror of the parasocial relationship, it is so unsettling, but you need to see what happens. And it's gonna be short. I think it's like 4 or 6 issues, and it is queer. It is everything that I hoped it would be, and also something that is completely different to me. And there is a very intentional explanatory letter at the end of this by Bidikar, and that was also a great like glimpse into how this came to be and where it might be going. Finally, I know I said that Marvel is what I'm reading the most of, but can you believe how many DC books we have right here? First up, Batwoman issue 2. Look at this cover. This cover is giving Chekhov's gun. You know? But we've got Danny on the art here, which like I just love. Like I'm really finding that this is a name that resonates with me when I see it on the shelves, and it is going to like encourage me to pick up new books. And that is something really cool about the point that I feel like I'm at in my comic journey. As I said earlier, I read Greg Rucka's previous Batwoman stuff this month, and it has me that much more excited to continue reading this one. I think Kate Kane is like such a cool character. It does seem, from what I have read, that we're kind of just getting like repetitive glimpses into her backstory. So I hope that we like get that, skim through that, and kind of like go into more of her personal life as she currently is, rather than her personal life in the past here. I think there's a real opportunity for that, and that's what I'm crossing my fingers hoping for. But this is on my pull list. I'm so excited to keep pulling it. One of the girls at my local comic shop is also really into this, and so we kind of get to have a little chat about it each time I pop in, and that is like healing me. It is so fun, and just another kind of like reminder why supporting your local shops is like so important, and what you can really get out of it beyond just like the books you want to read. Next, there's issue 31 and 32 of The Flash. This is my first time reading The Flash, and we've got like such a domestic story going here, but also like we're getting to see his love for his city and like his care for people, and a really unique concept playing out where people are trying to put themselves in harm's way on social media so that he has to come save them, and then their thing goes viral because they captured the Flash. And like, what a concept. Like, yeah, it's 2026, folks. This is where we're at. The internet is making people do dumb stuff. Also, definitely worth mentioning, Ryan North is on this, and that for sure incentivized me to pick it up because I love what he did on Fantastic Four. Oh my gosh. Bleeding Hearts issue 3 came out this month, and this locked it in for me. I am seated. I am ready to like see where this goes. I know it is going to break my heart, whether that be out of happiness or sadness, or possibly, quite likely, both. This issue was my favorite by far. I think a lot of people are reading this, but if you aren't and you are curious, like, this is your sign. Go find it, pick it up. Yeah, just a really heartwarming story about, you know, like how you might perceive somebody and then expect an interaction to go, and maybe we should be a little bit more open-minded as we go about our lives, I think is a really cool message to be like witnessing right now. And then lastly, my final single issue. This is something that I found in the back issue bins after finding it on like a forum of queer comic books, and that is The Low Woods by Carmen Maria Machado, who is an author that I like have books by and just haven't read anything in comic form from. This is cool. This is very cool. You've got two young, like high school age main characters who just like, I think they want to be kids, and they kind of live in a weird town, and they go to the movies, and they just have normal teenage lives, but like for sure stuff is going really wrong, and like this is clearly a setup issue, but it did the trick. I like need to go find, probably the trades will be my avenue for this, but I am building a little like queer collection, and I'm so happy to have issue 1 in it. So yeah, here is everything I read for the month of April. So comic heavy. Yes, I'm behind on my book reading goal of getting 50 in this year, but my heart is happy and my mind is like wandering and curious in a way that I think feels fresh and new and exciting, and I'm so thankful to have like found this kind of like comics hobby. Which brings me to, this channel hit 1,000 subscribers this month, and that is just like insane. It's nothing that I've ever really been measuring as I've been going, just kind of like getting excited every time we hit a new like 100 or whatever. And I've been working at this for like years, but the thing that's really cool about that is, bigger than it like being that 1,000 number, I'm interacting with more people, and like I'm getting good reading recommendations, and we're talking about things back and forth, and I'm getting to hear what has people as excited as I am for some of these things about completely different things that I haven't even discovered yet. And I think that that is really cool. And so if you are here, if you're watching this, I just really want to thank you for like participating in conversation and community, and you're probably supporting your favorite artist while you're doing that. And I think that that is something that like I know I am like really holding on to right now in like my personal life and like my motivations and all of these like things that I recognize bring a lot of value to my life, and that is like supporting creatives and people who are doing things and reading things that like I care about, and then also people who are creating the things that make me care. With this being everything that I read for the month, I have a lot of avenues to like pursue going forward beyond my pull list, between the LQBTQ and the Pulse, and just like I'm looking at my TBR stack in the corner right now and it is massive. But yeah, thank you for reading with me. Thank you for sharing what you are reading. Like I said earlier, thank you for just supporting and being a part of something, because I really appreciate that.